Week 2 of early voting is underway in Virginia's high-stakes governor's race, and also up for grabs is one race that could split the ticket this November. Attorney General. Republican incumbent Jason Miyares is trailing slightly in polls behind former delegate Jay Jones. The winner will oversee criminal investigations, including defending convictions on appeal. And this person would also help protect your money by enforcing state consumer and business protection laws, and so much more. All week, 7 News has been highlighting the nominees' positions on a variety of topics that could impact your life or your family's lives. And in their sit-down conversation with 7 News' sister station in Lynchburg, the candidates traded barbs and defended their records on prosecuting cases.
You take a shot at your opponent, Jay Jones, having not prosecuted a criminal case. How many criminal cases have you prosecuted?
Well, I started off my career in the Commonwealth Attorney's Office in Virginia Beach early on. Our office has been one of the most aggressive. But yeah, my record with Jay Jones, my experience as a prosecutor, Jay Jones is asking Virginians to hire him to be the top prosecutor in the state. He's never prosecuted a single case in his day in his life. And the best predictor of future performance is past performance. When he was in the General Assembly, he voted consistently against law enforcement, against victims, and with felons. This is an individual who's advocated for no cash bail, which is an idea that sounds as dumb as it really is. It means that if I'm a serial rapist and you pick this serial rapist off the street and you arrest him, he's right back on the street. It means they cannot hold him. He voted against a 60-day mandatory minimum for repeat wife beaters. He voted against 12 months for somebody, an adult, who goes on school property and sells drugs to a child. He voted to end the mandatory reporting requirement of sexual assault in our schools. He voted for the Ralph Northam early felon release program that has released over 9,000 felons back on our streets, sometimes with decades on their sentence. And just our numbers from 2023, 49.8% of them have already been rearrested. And so every chance he's had to side with the law enforcement and with victims, he's chose to side with felons. He is the most left-wing candidate ever to run for Attorney General. He should be running for Attorney General in California, not Virginia.
All right, that was Republican incumbent Jason Miyares. Now here's the Democratic nominee, Jay Jones.
At the same time, as you know, your opponent says that you never prosecuted a criminal case. How do you respond to that?
Well, look, I spent my career as a trial attorney. I love being in the courtroom. I love arguing and advocating on behalf of people. And as Attorney General of Virginia, that's my job, is to put them first. My opponent fails to do that. He continues to prioritize Donald Trump. He continues to prioritize letting Washington run over us. We deserve an Attorney General who's going to protect Virginia, protect our resources, protect our interests. And I'm looking forward to doing that come January.
All right, joining me now is Dr. Kara Ong-Whaley, Executive Director of Better Choices for Democracy, and she currently teaches in the Department of Politics at the University of Virginia. And political science professor Gary Nordlinger from George Washington University is in studio with me. Gary, I'm going to begin with you. Miyares highlights his background as an assistant prosecutor in Virginia Beach, while Jones frames his experience as a trial attorney. How much do voters actually value this kind of direct prosecutorial experience in an attorney general race?
I don't think it's a compelling, I'm going to vote for this guy because he's been a prosecutor, but it's just one more piece of evidence that would qualify a person to be Attorney General. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, Kara, historically, have we seen at all how often maybe Virginia AG candidates have successfully used this kind of lack of prosecutorial experience argument as a winning one against their opponents?
Well, in the case of the Virginia Attorney General, not very many voters truly understand all of the roles and responsibilities. I will say that Miyares especially did a good job of laying out what the role is. And voters also, we also know that voters reward competence and results. But we also see Jones sort of positioning himself as the people's lawyer in this election, that he is going to protect them. But I think overall, we really see Miyares' approach in the answer to that question, and overall in the campaign, he has a really good, solid record based on his positions and as well as high visibility initiatives in this state.
Now, Kara, we heard Jones counter by pivoting away from the courtroom experience argument that we're just talking about there to emphasize his role as a trial attorney. When he's criticizing Miyares' alignment with Trump, which line of attack, this inexperience or the partisanship, is more likely to stand out with Virginia swing voters?
Well, I think we heard both candidates make sort of nationalize this race in their responses. Miyares pointed out that Jones should be running in California. And of course, there's been a lot of criticisms of how public safety has been managed in that state and in at least some key locales like San Francisco. And then similarly, Jones going back after Miyares. I think this just pushes people into their partisan corners, and I think independents or swing voters, as they see this, will tend to lean more towards a Republican on this issue.
Yeah, you end up in your camps a little bit more sometimes. Gary, is it interesting because an AG's race, for example, suddenly gets a little more national attention these days when you talk about the powers that they do have?
Well, yes, and what's giving it national attention is there are only 2 states this year that are even holding elections, which is what's giving Virginia even more emphasis. But, I think they've both tried their best to maximize their assets and minimize their liabilities, frankly. I mean, I think Kara absolutely wrapped it up in terms of which perspective you want to look at these issues from.
Yeah, and it's always interesting when they blatantly will say it's because you're left, I'm right, this is where we stand.
And if you notice, that hasn't happened at all in these discussions.
And sometimes makes it a lot easier for the voters to figure out who they're going to support. But we digress a little bit there. All right, thank you so much to both of you. Now, to learn more about where the nominees for Attorney General stand on these issues, just visit WJLA.com or scan the QR code that's on your screen. Early voting in Virginia's November election is underway. You have until November 1st to vote early. Election day is November 4th.